Hello, my fellow combatants. Spaceman Jew here, back at you with another video. So, today's topic of the problem with Mortal Kombat 1 is, or now this is just a genuine or overall problem, a general problem with Mortal Kombat, right? New age Mortal Kombat. But before we get into that, I first want to talk about the sales of Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 6, and Tekken 8, right? So, Street Fighter 6, 1 million in 5 days, 2 million in a month, 3 million in 7 months. Mortal Kombat 1, 3 million in 2 months, 3 million by January 2024. Tekken 8, 2 million in under 3 weeks. What? It takes Tekken literally less time to sell 2 million copies than it will take Mortal Kombat to make 3 million copies. 2 million copies in 3 weeks. So that means that within a month to 2 months, we can expect this game to at least, Tekken 8, to sell at least, what, 5 million copies? Maybe in 3 months. In 2 weeks, if they sold 2 million, in 3 weeks, if they sold 2 million, imagine what it's going to be in like 3 months, 3 to 5 months, especially with the other DLC characters that's going to be coming up and things like that. What? So this proves that, hey, maybe Mortal Kombat isn't a good game, because if it was, maybe Tekken wouldn't have sold this well. Like, it would have sold well regardless, but not in 2 weeks, in under 3 weeks. That's crazy. That is crazy. So now on to the main topic of the video. There's no legacy in NRS fighting games, okay? Back when NRS was Midway, when they were owned by Midway and they weren't owned by WB, there were legacy between titles. And you could break up now, because Mortal Kombat is 30 years old, you can literally break it up into 3 different eras, right? You had the 2D era, which is Mortal Kombat 1 through 4. You had the 3D era, which is Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance through Armageddon. And then you have the new era, right? New era, HD era, whatever fits your fancy, which is Mortal Kombat the reboot from 2011 all the way up until now. And the new titles from the reboot all the way up until now, there's no legacy. So before I get talking about the legacy of these titles, or the newer titles, let me talk about the legacy of the older titles. So Mortal Kombat 1 through 4, they all kind of somewhat operated the same, just a little bit, okay? Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 were more or less kind of the same. They improved upon the things from the very first Mortal Kombat game in Mortal Kombat 2. Like roundhouses in the first Mortal Kombat, they didn't send you flying across the screen, but in Mortal Kombat 2, they did, right? There was still the high punch, low punch, high kick, low kick formula going on. There was no combo strings, okay? And then in Mortal Kombat 3 and 4, there were combo strings, but it was still more or less somewhat the same. They added the run button. They kept the same formula, but improved upon it, by adding mechanics, right, which was the run button. And they added combo strings, but they still, or dollar combos is what they call it, but they still had high punch, low punch, high kick, low kick. And like I said, it was, you could, if you wanted to do combos for Mortal Kombat 1, you could do them in Mortal Kombat 4. You could do turnaround, jump kick, Superman fly. If that's what you wanted to do, you can do it, right? Or whatever it is that you wanted to do, you could kind of somewhat do it across all of the games, more of less, right? And then in the 3D era, which is Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance from Armageddon, all those games were the same. Literally, all the characters had a lot of characters, not a lot of characters, but between the games, the characters kind of had the same combos and shared the same moves, like Sub-Zero, right? If you play him in Deadly Alliance, he shares literally some of the same moves, some of the same combos between Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon. Okay, and then not only that, the basis for the game itself was kind of just how can I say, just the engine that they used. It was the same for all three games, and the 3D era was really focused on hand-to-hand fighting. All right, and then they added air combos in Armageddon, which was fine. You know what I'm saying? But the overall fundamental aspect of those three games, Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon, was the same. There was legacy between it. So if you played Deadly Alliance and you skip Deception, you could come into Armageddon and still kind of have some type of, idea of what's going on. Or if you play, Deadly Alliance and Deception, and then you pick up Armageddon, it's going to feel the same. You didn't have three stances because obviously they included all the characters, so they gave everybody two stances, which was the weapon stance and their basic fighting stance, and that was fine. But if you play with the character that use a specific style, you still had access to those combos from Deadly Alliance or Deception or what have you. You could still do those combos with that style. Nothing changed, just the character. So now with this new era, right, from 2011 all the way up until 2023, there's no legacy between titles. They change the game every single time. So with MK9, or not MK, we're gonna say MK9, it seemed like they was kind of going back to MKs 1 through 4. Right? And then MKX kind of more or less seemed like the same thing. They added the run button. They kind of improved upon some of the things of MK9, but it was still more or less kind of a different game, in my opinion. But it was different, but it was kind of somewhat the same. MK11 is a completely, totally different game from X. Literally, there's no running button. A lot of people say, oh, the movement. Look, man, learn wave dash, bro. There was nothing wrong with the movement in that game. You just wanted to have some bug out. I could run and be in your face all the time. Look, it's Mortal Kombat. It's not that, and it was never that to begin with. The MK11 was completely different. What I did like from MK11 is the meter regain, right? The meter regains on its own, so there's no cheap bullshit, BS stuff. And the crushing blows, right? Now, M1K is a completely different game from MK9, 10, and 1. These four titles are completely different from one another. They share no legacy between each other than like the name and the gore and maybe the characters, right? So basically, you can't, if you play MK9, you can't do a combo from MK9 and MKX, right? Other than maybe your basic turnaround jump kick, Superman fly, something like that, right? Which is something that I think you can do in all the Mortal Kombat games except for the 3D era, because there was no jumping in the 3D era. Like, you couldn't jump in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance Deception. You could jump in Armageddon, but it wasn't as strong as it was in the 2D era. So there's no legacy between these titles, right? It's not like in Tekken, right? If you play, if you play Tekken 3, right, and some basic combo you have from Tekken 3, and you wanted to play Tekken 8, you can still do that combo. From Tekken 3, you can still do that basic combo. It might be a little bit more flashier or something like that, but guess what? The button annotations have not changed. King's moves from Tekken 3 or the very first Tekken have not changed. They've just added things and refined the system. That's it. Mortal Kombat has not done that. It was once that before with the older games, right? But it seems like with this new era, they changed the format every game. They change the formula every game. It's like, yo, can we get some consistency here? Consistency is how you build legacy. This new era is going to be remembered as a complete jumbled fuck of a mess. Because it is. There's no consistency in between the titles other than the blood, gore, and maybe some characters. The gameplay is different, right? If you play Street Fighter, I mean, the gameplay is pretty much the same between all Street Fighter titles, right? Maybe they might have added some different mechanics and things like that, but it's still the same. But this new era of Mortal Kombat, there is no legacy. And legacy is literally what keeps, is what my opinion, is what a franchise is supposed to be. And that's for any genre, any fighting, not any fighting game, but any video game, that's what it's supposed to be, right? And as I'm looking at this chart, we all know the NetherRealm cycle. We know how that circle is, but this other fighting games, when you look at them, they keep the same mechanics and they keep the same system for future games. And then they refine the existing system and add new elements to it, which Tekken has done, which Street Fighter has done, right? And, you know, they add new content or whatever. Who cares about really that stuff? But the most important thing is, because of the system's familiarity, they are able to respond to issues and speed with efficiency. Because they know exactly what this engine is. They've been doing it for so long. They know exactly how the system works. Any problems, they can fix it on the drop of a dime. Mortal Kombat does that. NRS doesn't do that. NRS, on the other hand, when you look at this picture, right? I wish I could start putting pictures up for you guys in this manner. I wish you guys could see this, but they start the development. They give limited development time, and the limited development time goes to, because guess what? They're changing, it's the publisher, you know, big corporations, executives, but they've changed the format of the game, the formula of the game, and when they do that, it doesn't give the team enough time to get used to this new system and understand it. If you kept the same formula as before and perfected it, the team will already know, okay, we've dealt with this before, this is what it is, we know what to do. What doesn't that make it easier? That would make development so much more easier. There's no crunch time. Then there's no added BS when the game comes out. If there is a problem, we already know, because we're so familiar with this engine, with this formula. We know how to just fix it on the drop of a dime. If it was some problem with Tekken, they told the players about it immediately. We know about it, we're on it, and it was fixed within like a couple hours. Damn. So there's no legacy between between this new era and this new era of Mortal Kombat. There's no legacy between the titles, and there needs to be legacy, because with that comes consistency, and it comes with but it helps the developers. It also helps the player base, the fans, casuals, whatever you want to call it, the player base, because now they know what to expect, more or less, with every game. You know, oh, my character is going to still be the same, but it's just going to be a new mechanic. You know, and then not only that, and not always constantly adding mechanics, but just refining the mechanics that are already there, right? So when you look at Tekken 6 and Tekken 7, they're the same game. They still have the rage system, and they refined the rage meter. And then it was like, okay, we're going to add the rage art, which is a super. That was never a thing in Tekken. Now they kept the same system. We still have rage. We still have rage art. Now we have the heat system. So they kept the same formula and system, with the rage art, with the rage system. They refined it, made it better, and then also adding on to that system with the new mechanic. That's how you're supposed to do it. It sucks that NRS does not understand this. I wonder who the fuck over there is working. Ed Boon needs to grab his ball sack and take control of his baby. So with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment on this video, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified for the next time when I do upload new videos. And as always, peace.